On what Memorial Day means to you. Shannon, start with you.
Well, we get to enjoy this day because so many men and women paid the ultimate sacrifice many, many years ago, and so many men and women today currently serving domestically and abroad pay the ultimate sacrifice and fight diligently every single day. So we get an opportunity. Many people are off today, sitting at home, cooking out, swimming, because of the young, brave young men and women that pay the ultimate price. So thank you for my family, FS1, and my true family. Thank you again for what you do for this country.
Thank you for saying that. And let me quickly go old school to remind everyone, it wasn't that long ago, shortly before I was born, this country was under threat from both Europe and the Pacific in World War II, from countries who wanted to take us over. And many, many men and women gave their lives to keep us free. So we want to thank all of you who have served or are serving this country. God bless you on this Memorial Day. We remember you.
Thank you.
Great stuff from you guys. And I just wanted to quickly shout out my cousin, Catherine Binder. She's in the Navy. And a little story, we both went to college in Boston. And the BU lacrosse team, we'd train at Nickerson Field every morning, 6 a.m., complained about it to her all the time. And at one point, she went to MIT. She was across the river, and she did ROTC. And at one point, she was like, Jenny, do you know that I'm actually on Nickerson at 4:30 every day training? And she had me beat, and it just kind of put it into perspective, just the hard work, the sacrifice. We're so lucky to have so many who just really sacrifice for us. So, Casey, I'm thinking about you today, and thank you so much for that message as well from Ashlyn. We're going to have messages throughout the show. So, guys, let's get to what the Clippers did as well. The Clippers came to Dallas trailing 2-0, and now head back to LA with the series tied and home court advantage reclaimed. Kawhi led the way with a game-high 29 points, and LA looks like they have cracked Dallas's code after they held the Mavs to a season low in points. And after the game, Ty Lue said, quote, "We still haven't done anything yet." Meanwhile, Rick Carlisle and Luke said Luka Doncic is, quote, in pain after he played through a strained neck for a second game and finished with only 19 points. You can almost sense that from him. So, Shannon, what is the biggest reason for the Clippers turnaround here?
Well, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were unbelievable. Kawhi's been spectacular, Skip. He's 24 of 32 from the field. He's 5 of 8 from the three-point line. He's just been spectacular. I don't know if I've seen Kawhi Leonard play this good. If you look at Kawhi, there's not a stretch in playoffs, even if you go back to Toronto or San Antonio, where he's played this good.
Agreed.
The way he's playing now.
Never seen this Kawhi.
And then Paul George has been spectacular along with him. And then they got key contributions, Skip. If you remember, I think it was Friday when they played, Marcus Morris hit 3 threes in the fourth quarter in that corner three.
It was huge.
Because every time they get it, it was huge.
And he hadn't hit a squat until then.
He hadn't hit anything.
And he hadn't hit squat since then, but go ahead.
And then Reggie Jackson played well for him on Friday night. But, Skip, then you look, Reggie Jackson comes back again and plays well. Nicholas Batum, who they inserted into the starting lineup because they said, why are we playing Zoobs? Because we know he's going to play hard, but Luke is searching him out. He's really trying to put him in a high pick and roll and wanting to go one-on-one with him. So you know what? Let's start Batum because they don't have anybody that really wants to post the ball. Porzingis is 7'3". He got Batum playing behind him. He got Paul George, Kawhi, and he's out there 20 feet from the basket. Man, if you don't get your skinny butt down, Skip, but I get it. If you don't want to be Joel Embiid or you want to be Jokic, but get 10 feet and just turn around and shoot over the top of him. But he's 7'3" and want to be a point guard. Bruh, what's going on? Rick Carlisle probably like, Lord have mercy, what are we doing here? And you can tell something's wrong, Skip. I agree with you. Luka isn't the greatest free throw shooter.
Duh.
But, Skip, there's no way somebody can shoot better from the three-point line than they can the free throw line. You look at, I mean, his free throws last night, Skip, they weren't even close to going in. I'm like, Luka. I said, how about this? How about you back up to the three-point line to shoot the free throws?
Quick story. I'm watching with my wife, Ernestine, who's really gotten into basketball, and she turned to me in the fourth quarter and said, hack a Jordan. And I said, hack a Jordan. And she's saying, like, hack a Luka. You should start fouling him, put him on the line.
You should.
This is Luka Doncic. And I said, you know what? Maybe you're right.
And, Skip, he was spectacular Friday night. I mean, 15 of 28, but 7 of 13. How do you, Skip, he's 7 of 13 from the three. He's 7 of 13 from the free throw line.
Never, ever, ever seen it before.
Give the Clippers credit. Ty Lue said, look, There's no way, because the difference in the two, the only thing that's different, Skip, the shots that the Clippers missed the first two games, they're making. The shots that the Mavs made the first two games, they're missing. They're still right there. Luka is still hitting Hardaway Jr. He's still hitting Finney-Smith, Kleber. Now, I think they made a trade for Finney-Smith between 2 and 3 because he got to be playing with the Clippers the way he shoot the ball. Ain't no way he on the Mavs side shooting like that, considering what he did the first couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and then they got, Reggie Jackson chipped in. They got Marcus Morris Sr. chipped in, but it was the two big guns. And I asked Skip after they lost the first game and they scored 69. I said, can they continue to play that way? Yep, they could continue to play that way. Now, they didn't need the 60 points that they only got 45 last night. They didn't need what they normally got. But Paul George and Kawhi, especially Kawhi, has been spectacular.
My turn. Obviously, on Friday's show, I completely wrote off my Clippers because everybody on this show wrote off the Clippers because they should have been written off. And if I could say that I did my small part to slap them in the face and say, wake up, who are you, and how shameful can you play?
They were shameful.
Maybe it helped a little bit to just completely write them off. Yet, I got to tell you, in all my years watching the National Basketball Association and playoff games, dating all the way back to 1976 when I started to cover the Lakers here for the LA Times in Los Angeles, where we sit, I've never, ever seen a stranger, more bizarre, more surreal game than Friday night's game.
Oh, yeah.
I am still shell-shocked from Friday night's game, which I cannot figure out. And apparently last night, the Mavericks were still shell-shocked from what happened to them on Friday night. Because back to your point, Luka was mostly spectacular on Friday night. Am I right?
Yes.
I look at these numbers. He's 44 points,
9 and
15 to 28, 9 and 9. Okay. Here's the point. On Friday night at home before a crazed sellout post-pandemic crowd in Dallas, featuring Michael Irvin and Dak Prescott, the home team Dallas Mavericks hit 23s, 20 of 39. So I checked on that this morning, 20 of 39. In the history of pro basketball, the history of the NBA, never in a playoff game has a home team made 20 or more threes and lost the game.
Yep.
It cannot happen,
Right.
but it did. And I can't quite make the box score compute because I'm still not sure how it happened. Because I'm going to remind you, early in the game, with 4:28 left in the first quarter, it's 30-11 Dallas. And Mark Cuban's up there in the stands going, we got this. And Steve Ballmer, they keep little cutaways to Steve Ballmer over on the baseline. I think he's about to explode, walk across the floor, and fire Ty Lue on the spot. Because he's got to fire somebody because he wants answers, right? 30-11?
He keep dropping his head. He's like, I can't watch.
I wish I had a little Shannon cam at that point up in his palatial estate up in Bel Air, because I would like to have seen your face or whatever you were doing at that point. What were you dancing? Were you on the top of the table?
I just fired out a simple tweet. I was like, are the Clippers going to guard anybody, yay or nay? Because they won't guard anybody.
Good question. Good question.
But I think
so guess what happened? Kawhi Leonard comes down and makes a 10-foot jumper.
Oh, my goodness.
Then they take Luka for his usual rest. It wasn't forced rest. It was just like he usually rests for the last 3 minutes.
Turning point of the ball game.
The last 3 minutes of the quarter.
Turning point of the ball game, Skip.
And Paul George went down and hit another one. Then Kawhi went down and hit another one. And all of a sudden, I look up at the end of the quarter, and it's only 34-31. And I think, how are they still in this game? But they were in this game. And from that point on, would you believe from that moment with 4:28 left in the first quarter until right now, the Clippers have outscored the Mavericks in Dallas by 54 points. Help me out. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
213 to 159.
What? It's impossible. and I still look at the box score, and the only thing I can tell you, the only thing I can figure out is that finally Kawhi and Paul George from 2 were able to outscore Luka from a lot of three.
Yes.
Because it was 65-44, 2-on-1.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can tell you from this box score that allowed the Clippers to finally take over.
Right.
And then to your point, you want to talk about timely shooting? Marcus Morris out of the same short corner, across right in front of the
Three of
Mavericks
them.
bench. He makes all three of them. And I'm falling on the floor. I'm rolling on the floor because I could not believe that they finally survived and won a game. And again, I want Ty to play Rondo more, and he played very well, but he wasn't the reason.
No.
The reason was this reason. I'm going to go deep now. I'm going to go Freudian here. I'm going to go Dr. Phil here.
Okay.
On Luka. I believe that the